Alright you guys, so let's just get into it. As I'm sure I stated in the beginning, the structure of this video is going to be a little bit different, so let me know what you guys think about it. But we are going to start with the eyes, and they are primed and ready to go. Now, if you remember in maybe the second to last video that I uploaded, which was my first kind of official fall drugstore makeup look, I did use the e.l.f. concealer to prime my lids. However, at the end of the day, when I took that off, I found that my lids were very irritated. So that's why I just decided to go in with what I know and is like my tried and true. And those of you who have been watching me for a while know what that is, but I'm not going to mention it just because it's not drugstore. But if you're curious or just wondering what it was that I did use, you can also refer back to my previous videos and it will definitely be there. But talking about palettes, today's palette is the LA Girl, I was gonna say color palette. Now this is so beautiful. Obviously it screams fall, like completely. They do have other ones, but this one is the one that caught my attention, so we're gonna create something with this today. I'm just really feeling this palette all the way around. It screams me in so many different ways. So I'm gonna first go in with a mixture of this like more bone colored shadow and this one together in my crease just to create a light transition. Nothing too intense, you know, just something very, very light. I really don't know where I'm going with this look at all. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but not really. So we just see where it takes us. It may just be another traditional look that you guys are used to me doing here on my channel, but I can only really do what I know. So I'm just gonna buff this lightly in the crease. So next I'm gonna go ahead and grab this shadow right here. Now unfortunately, these do not have shade names, so that's why I'm kind of pointing to them, but it's this right here. It's kind of like a warm tone brown. This palette definitely pulls very warm, just like looking at it in the pan. And I'm just stamping this or pressing it into my outer corner, and then I will buff and blend it out. It's pulling more orange than anything. This shadow, I thought it would be more brown to be honest, but it's definitely pulling orange. So I'm finding that it's not the easiest to blend out. I mean, it blends clearly, but it's not the easiest. So what I'm gonna do is just go back into that second color over here, this one, and I'm just gonna use a clean blending brush just to help me kind of blend the outer perimeter of the shadow. I don't want it to get too out of control as I'm going in, so I'm just gonna go back and forth between, you know, dipping into that lighter shade to help blend the outer corners and intensify the outer corner with the actual shade that we were using, which is like that orangey tone shade, I guess. And just go back and forth between the two, just really building it up to the pigmentation that I want and, you know, what I want this look to look like. So a lot of back and forth and blending. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take this orange shade right here, which is a little bit on a different spectrum than this one over here. Honestly, this doesn't look like this. Like, I would have never thought that this is the color I would get from this, but I guess we will see. I am just going to place this on the outer corner as well, but not into my crease, kind of below my crease, and I'm just tapping and pressing the shadow in place for now, and then I will work on blending it out. But initially I just want to get this color on my lid, so I'm just pressing it on. Once I have it placed, I'm going to take the opposite side of this brush and I'm just going to run it back and forth, not really using circular motions or anything like that. I'm really just focusing on moving the product around, but just in a more so windshield wiper motion or a brushing motion rather than blending in circles. So now that that's done, I'm gonna grab a shimmer shadow before I go into that last matte shade, which is this one. And this is kind of like what these shimmers are giving. I think I want to go in with this one right here, and this one is actually this shadow down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a flat brush and start pressing that on my lid on the innermost part and just kind of working it to the center and just trying to get a feel of what I want for this look. So this is giving me monochromatic vibes for sure, but I do want to switch it up a little bit. So I am gonna grab the final matte shade in the palette, and I'm not really sure if it's gonna pull how it looks in the pan. So I'm gonna be very light-handed with it at first, just because I'm unsure of how deep in color it really is. And I'm gonna focus this on the lower outer part of my lash line just to see if it's gonna give me any dimension from the previous shadows that we put on. Okay, I feel a mood shift, so I'm gonna start by doing that. I'm just gonna pack this on the outer corner, just like I've done all the other shadows, and just really work it into the lid and just not go too far into the inner corner, because obviously we put that shimmer shade there, so I just want to blend the two. Okay, now that we have that, I want to go in with a second shimmer shadow, and I think I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'm going to place that in the center of my lid. I'm really trying to break up the monochromatic vibe that I'm getting, so I just want to lightly place this shadow. What I'm noticing as I'm digging into the pan for this shadow, this one's more like a pressed glitter in a way. It's not as foiled as the other shimmers in this palette, so it's actually providing a different aspect to the look. As you guys can see, the formulation of that shadow is definitely different. If you look at the pan, you can tell that it's much creamier, and it's definitely different in formula and texture. So I believe that's why it didn't perform the same as the other shimmers. I'm not completely hating it though. I think I'm just gonna leave it as is for now and just go ahead and apply my mascara and my lashes. Now, I know I told you guys I was gonna be doing a look with no lashes for those who find it difficult to put on lashes, but today's not that video. So I will do that. Then when I come back, I will also have my foundation on, because I'm trying to just take out the parts that aren't really important. If we think about it, sometimes videos can just be way too long for no reason. So I really just want to cut out the unimportant parts, in my opinion, especially considering that I'm really gearing this video towards not only drugstore products, which I'm still going to use off camera, but also the fact that these products are a little bit newer for me. So I want to be able to give you guys my opinion as it relates to the product without the video being super long. So we go from this to that. My concealer and my foundation have both been applied. I did use the Maybelline Superstay foundation, which I'm obsessed with. I love this one by Maybelline. There was one foundation from Maybelline I had to recommend to people, it would definitely be the Superstay. I just really love it. And then to conceal, I used two concealers. I used the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This is the matte version, or the regular one, I guess, in Tan Sand. And then I also used Juvia's Place number 16 concealer, just for the areas like my forehead where I have texture. This is a brightening concealer for me, or a little bit more brightening than, you know, the foundation. So you don't want to put a brightening concealer on textured areas of your face, because it will only emphasize it. So I tried to use one that was more my skin tone. But now we're going to jump into the under eyes and just kind of finish this part off. I know I haven't set anything yet, but we are going to jump into this. And I'm just going to take the matte shades that we used and then run that on the lower lash line. Nothing crazy, nothing too specific, just blend away. So for cream contour, instead of going in with the Wet n Wild contour stick that I love, I decided to pick up a concealer to cream contour. And the one I picked up is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is their long wear concealer in the shade Warm Almond. This was like the darkest shade that they had. So I wanted to try this because I've never used concealer to cream contour or anything. So we're just gonna place a couple of dots, I guess, around my face and then blend it in. I will use my sponge to blend everything in, and hopefully all goes well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my e.l.f. sponge to blend all of this out. Uh-oh. I'm seeing like faded dots, but hopefully it all blends in. I've never used this concealer before, not even to just normally conceal my face, but I wanted to try something, so I figured this would be a good bet. I'm noticing that it's drying down fairly quickly, so I'm really trying to work hard to hurry up and blend it in. But it does seem to be blending nonetheless, and I do like the color. You know, I'm not mad. I really do like the way this snatched my face. I could have probably used less product, but overall, I really do like it. So, with all of that, all right, so now we have our lashes on. Our face has been set down with a little bit of powder. I did go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Setting Powder. Ever since I pulled that out, I can't seem to put it back. So we used that in light medium. And then my lashes are from Windsor in the style Ellie. And this is just what the box looks like, just in case any of you guys are interested. So moving on, as you guys know, I did pick up the primer infused blushes from e.l.f., but I thought it was a good idea to check out their bronzers. Now I didn't see a large selection, but I went ahead and picked this one up. This is in the shade Forever Sunkissed. It does look a little cool tone, but we're gonna work with it today and see what it's giving us, how it applies, if it's just as good as the blushes. So I'm just gonna apply a small amount. Now I do think these bronzers are not as pigmented as the blushes, but I do think they apply very nicely. You do have to build it up a little bit more, but I don't see that really being a problem for anyone. However, when it comes to the tone and shade of this, I mean, it works, but it's not my favorite. Although I'm unsure about the bronzer, let's go ahead and move into highlight and blush. So this is the Face Duo from e.l.f. and this one's in Lich. And I'll have all the new products listed down below as well as like shades and stuff like that for you guys. But I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. Now you guys know I love the primer infused blush, but we're gonna go ahead and give this one a try and see if the formula is just as good, if not better. Oh yeah, definitely has pigment. Okay, I do like this shade that I chose. It's very pretty, definitely pigmented. You know, one thing I have to say is that e.l.f. has truly stepped up their game as far as like their products and just the formulas of them. Oh my gosh, out of this world. One of the best drugstore brands right now on the market that's like really giving you like really good quality at such affordable prices. So I would definitely say to go get the primer infused blush and even grab this face trio. I really do like it. Like, just look at that blush. Probably went a little ham, a little overboard, but it's all good. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So we're also gonna go ahead and use the highlight in here. Now you guys know me, when it comes to fall, this year I'm just not crazy about a whole bunch of highlight, but I do wanna see how this highlight performs. And hello, it's there. So I'm just gonna try to do a little bit, not too much. So that's all the highlight that I'm gonna do. It's not a lot, but the highlighter is definitely a good one. You guys can see just off of like the tip of my nose and above my lip, it's definitely there. I try to be a lot more light-handed over here. It's still there, but you know, not so much. And I love it. So yes, definitely would recommend those two. Now let's move into the lips, but before we get to the lips, let's go ahead and set our face. So I have this Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist from e.l.f. This is up to 16-hour wear, is what it claims. It kind of sounds like it has something in it. I don't really know, but let's go ahead and lock our makeup into place. Yep, okay. smells good. It smells like cucumber in a way. And the mist is very fine. Kind of reminds me of the Fenty Beauty setting mist, the Baby What It Do, as far as like the mist that you feel, although I do feel like the Fenty one is a little bit lighter, but this one is definitely very fine, just as the name suggests. I am going to use my fan and my sponge to just kind of press this into the skin and speed up this process. So let's go ahead and talk about the lips really quickly. Let's try to do this as quickly and as efficiently as we can. So I went ahead and picked up a new lip liner. I didn't pick up an actual lip product. So I got the Milani Understatement lip liner. This one is in the shade 150, which is Cinnamon Statement. But I also have another shade from them, which I don't know if I've used on camera yet, but it's this one right here, which pools more brown, and the one I got was like a little bit more orange. So I may mix the two of these, but the brown one is in the shade Saucy Toffee, which I do love because I have used it off camera for sure. But let's go ahead and line our lips very neatly and nicely with this one. So the first shade I'm going to use is Cinnamon Statement, and I'm just going to use this to actually just literally just line my lips and fill them in slightly, but not too much. So I decided not to go in with the other lip liner because I want to save that for a combo that I really love for a different video. So I'm just going to pop on a little bit of the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in London and just kind of see what this is giving us. Alright beauties, so this here is the finished and final look. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, I love to hear your feedback and what you guys think about the overall look. Also, let me know what your favorite product from today was. But with all of that, we're going to jump into what I like to call kind of like my speed reviews on the new products that I did use. Now, starting with the palette. This palette right here retails for $9.99, I believe, and you can find it at Ulta. They do have multiples, but as far as this one, I feel like first and foremost, it screams fall, like hello, look at the color story. Now, I do feel like monochromatic is something that I was not trying to do, but I ended up with using pretty much all of the shadows, at least the matte shadows in this palette. I do feel like the pigmentation is definitely there. It's very blendable, and it's well worth the money that it cost for the palette, which is very, very affordable. I feel like I see a lot of like high-end quality in this affordable product. So this is something I would definitely use again and keep in my drawer for seasons to come. Now with all of that, let's move on to another great product for me, which is the e.l.f. Face Duo. This right here, if you can tell by the packaging, should remind you of another e.l.f. product that is only $3, and that's their trio that they have for the eyeshadows, which are very pigmented and I have used before on my channel. This right here, I will say, definitely has that pigment, the highlighter and the blush both. I will not say that I like this one over the primer infused blush that I use. I feel like they're both like equal as far as like pigmentation and just the overall quality of the product. But if you just want something more than just a blush, then definitely go for this one. Plus it's $3, like you can't pass that up. So this was really fun to use, and it was interesting to me to see if it held up against the primer blush or primer infused blush that I used. So I love this as well, and it's only $3, girl, so you should go get it. Now moving on to their bronzer that I used, the primer infused bronzer. This right here, if I can open it, again pulls kind of cool tone, but it also pulled a little bit red on my skin. Now I am not mad at the overall look of all of this. I feel like this in combination with the blush really did pull together and just create a beautiful aesthetic for the face. Now I will not say that I'm 100% over the moon crazy about it, but I think it's a good idea and something that if you're a beginner in makeup you should probably invest in. I would test out maybe a different shade if I can find one to better suit me, but I'm not mad about how this performed on the skin, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm trying to be as honest as I can. It's not a bronzer that would make me want to pull for it so often, not because of how it performed, but more so because of the undertone of the actual product. Lastly, from e.l.f., we used the Micro Fine Setting Mist. Now this I really do like. I love the mist on it. It did smell kind of like cucumbers to me in a weird way, but I'm not really sure if it has cucumber in it at all. But I did like the way that it set my makeup down. I think my makeup looks pretty good for setting it with this. Now, as far as it holding for 16 hours, I'm not really sure. Obviously, this is me initially using it, and I have not even worn my makeup for that long, nor do I really ever wear it for that long. But if that claim holds true, then this will be perfect. But aside from all of that, I did enjoy using that spray. Now, moving on to the last two products that we used today from Milani. The first one being the Correct or Conceal and Perfect Concealer. Again, this is in the shade Warm Almond, and I loved it for a cream contour. So this is something that you guys will see me pull out more often. Now, in the future, I would probably apply it to small areas of my face and then blend it out instead of putting it everywhere and then blending it out, because I did notice it does have a pretty quick drying time, but it was still blendable and not dried down enough to where I can blend out that product and really make it, you know, flow with the whole look and not dry down the way I put it on. Hopefully I'm making sense, but overall I did enjoy using that product and I will continue to use it. Now, in reference to the lip liner, I wasn't blown away by the shade at first, just because of my skin tone. You know, I didn't want it to look like my lips were like blending in with the rest of my face. Obviously I wanted to stand out. Now, I do love the formula of it. I think it's very creamy, it's very buildable, and it's bold for the shade that it is. Again, I do have a different shade for this line in a different color, which is more of a brown, well, an actual brown, and it's a little darker, so I do love this one. I also love this one, and now seeing the final look of it all, I really do like it. I feel like it's creamy, it goes on smoothly, and it blends out nicely if you did choose to kind of like diffuse it. So these are also liners that I will keep in my collection and probably pick up more shades of. Overall, as you guys can see, I really enjoyed using a lot of these products. I don't think there was really a miss for me, considering the makeup look came out the way that it did. I mean, let me know again what you guys think, what your favorite product from today's video was. And with all of that being said, I'm going to close out today's video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the new style of what I decided to do with this video is something that you guys enjoy as well. It's kind of more cut and to the point versus being all over the place and an entire routine to last over 30 minutes. So let me know what you guys think as far as that as well, and I will catch you guys in the next upload.